Now, I was just getting ready to go to bed, but then Daddy Dana decided to bless us with these big fight announcemements. All right. Thank goodness Daddy Dana came through when he needed to because we don't have to talk about Raja Jackson anymore. All right. God bless the UFC. All right. The main fight that everyone is going to be talking about, however, we're going to discuss that first. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Now, you guys already read the title to this video, so you already know who I'm gonna pick. And I'm not going to use all of the common arguments like, oh, JDM is much bigger than Islam. Or like, oh, JDM, he is like, he's fought better competition and he'll like stuff all the takedowns as Islam Makhachev. Right? You know why I'm gonna pick JDM? Because JDM isn't 35 years old like most Islam Makhachev opponents. All right. Now, I'm not faulting Islam Makhachev for that. It's just that most of Makhachev's opponents have been in their mid 30s, and JDM, he's now just hit his prime, and he's actually built, right? He's not like hobbling on one leg like Dustin Poirier, where like Dustin Poirier, as much as I do love him, he needed hip surgery at one point, and now he has no functioning left hip, right? JDM doesn't have that issue. And not only that, JDM, he is able to reverse positions like no one else. That is on Makash's fault, all right? Charles Oliveira, maybe, but like Charles Oliveira is more of a guy that latches onto submissions after pulling guard. All right. That don't really work against Islam. It was kind of proven in their fight, and it was subsequently proven in a lot of fights that Charles Oliveira's fought. But JDM, however, will be able to reverse positions Islam Makhachev puts him in. Right? We've seen Volk being able to kind of stuff his head and making sure that he stays on top and get out of certain scrambles at times. I think JDM can take it one step further because I'm not just saying that JDM's bigger than Alexander Volkanovski. I think JDM has more tools to work with than Alexander Volkanovski when it comes to the grappling. All right. JDM might not have the wrestling that Volkanovski has, but in exchange, JDM, in my opinion, he's a lot more slicker in the clinch. And sure, Islam Makhachev's the best in the clinch in the world, all right? By far, I completely understand. I don't think that he's going to just have his way with JDM in those situations, all right? He'll take JDM down, all right? I'm expecting like what, 3 or 4 times, maybe five. But I'm not expecting Islam Makhachev to just hold JDM down there, viciously throw ground and pound, nor am I expecting Islam to just latch up a Darce choke and finish JDM in the first round, right? JDM's actually tough. JDM just doesn't pull guard. JDM has two functioning hips, and JDM on the feet, I think everyone can agree, is much slicker than Islam Makhachev, right? Oh, but lighter man skill realistically, is Islam Makhachev someone who can like switch stances in the middle of combinations like JDM can, right? Does Islam Makhachev have like the combinations that JDM has? All right, Islam Makhachev's very good on the feet, but usually Islam Makhachev throws like 2, 3 punches or like 2, 3 combinations, whereas JDM can chain together combinations. He can switch targets both to the body and to the head. Right? I think anyone with eyes will tell you that JDM is much slicker on the feet, and if this fight stays on the feet, JDM will have the advantage. Okay, so I'm gonna go with JDM late round TKO. Right? I understand that JDM. Oh, he got hit by Bilal, and Bilal isn't a slick strike nearly as good as Islam Makhachev on the feet. All right, I'll give you that, but Bilal Muhammad has a granite made chin. And although Islam Makhachev hasn't been like wobbled or dropped like that severely in a while, will Islam Makhachev be able to just run through the punches like like what Bilal Muhammad could? Right? Because Bilal Muhammad was landing shots as he ate like 3 punches, closing the distance. Will Islam Makhachev be able to do that? No. Like Islam Makhachev, he gets cut up very easily compared to Bilal, and he's gonna if he does try to close distance and just like throw multiple piece combinations, he will like have his face torn up because Islam Makhachev, he's kind of known for wearing a lot of scar tissue, right? I don't really see him just being able to walk forward trying to land shots like Bilal. Okay, I'll admit this: Islam Makhachev is technically better than Bilal Muhammad, but I don't think that Islam Makhachev will be able to tank the same shots like Bilal Muhammad could in his fight with Jack Della Maddalena. So I'm gonna go with Jack Della Maddalena to win this fight by the fifth round TKO. Right? If Islam Makhachev beats JDM, I will be devastated. All right, I've been a day one JDM Glazer. Right, I picked this guy to beat Bilal, and if Islam Makhachev beats JDM, I am going to be incredibly sad. And you guys can clown me in this video, and you can talk about, oh, this take aged like milk, all right? You guys can do that, but I'm going with JDM regardless. I'm ride or die with JDM, so I am going to go with JDM by fifth round TKO. All right, moving on. We got Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili is moving up to potentially become a double champ in both the women's strawweight division and women's flyweight division. All right. Meanwhile, Valentina Shevchenko, most title defenses in women's flyweight history. I'm gonna be real though. I'm gonna go with Zhang Weili, right? Even though Valentina Shevchenko got the belt back, she's been winning a lot of her fights. I'm gonna be honest, they haven't looked all that impressive, right? I feel like Valentina Shevchenko uh, has regressed in terms of the striking. Now, she is a lot more well rounded in exchange, and she is like a lot smarter compared to before because, like, I don't know, she just knows how to win fights a lot more cleanly. But I don't think that's going to work against Zhang Weili. Like, Zhang Weili is incredibly well rounded, right? And I feel like Valentina Shevchenko is going to have to be forced to fight on the feet at times. And sure, Valentina Shevchenko is a great kickboxer, but is she someone who really gets that many TKOs? Not really. Like, what is a typical Valentina Shevchenko fight? Just fighting off the back foot, just leg kicking nonstop, and then like eventually mixing it up to a head kick. And I understand that Zhang Wei Li at one point got knocked out by a head kick by Rose Namajunas. All right, I'm not expecting Valentina Shevchenko to do that because it's been a very long time since Shevchenko has been able to knock out anybody on the feet. All right. Recently, Valentina Shevchenko has tried to just mix the martial arts in order to win her fights. And yes, it's very effective against Manon Fiora, Alexa Grasso, right? You could say Alexa Grasso twice if you want the count. If you want to count the second fight they had together as a victory for Shevchenko, but Zhang Wei Li is just much more well-rounded offensively than Shevchenko. So even if Shevchenko is able to just mix in the grappling, right? Is she really gonna hold down Zhang Wei Li like Shevchenko's done to like many of her opponents? No. And on the feet, is Shevchenko gonna be like light years better in terms of footwork? No. And Zhang Weili, she hits a lot harder than Shevchenko, even though Zhang Weili's moving up a weight class. And right now, Zhang Weili is showing more athleticism in her fights. So I'm gonna go with Zhang Weili to become the first double champion between the 115 and 125-pound weight class. All right. Is there a chance for Shevchenko to win? Yes, I'm not really gonna doubt her that much. But right now, Based on their last few fights over the past like 3 years, I'm gonna say that Zhang Weili is gonna win this fight. All right, now up next we got Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. I'm not gonna pick Leon Edwards to win a fight in 2025. Right, I think that's pretty obvious to anybody who's been watching UFC fights over the past y- 2 years. Yeah, you just don't really pick Leon Edwards to win his fights right now. Like, I don't know. Is Carlos Prates, is he like this unbeatable matchup for Edwards? Not necessarily. I can see Edwards doing well as the fight progresses, but the question is Leon Edwards actually going to pressure forward against Carlos Prates? No. When has Leon Edwards ever done that in his fights? Leon Edwards is notorious for just leg kicking at range, throwing 20 strikes across a round, right? You can't really do that against Carlos Prates. You can't really go tit for tat with him. You have to overwhelm Carlos Prates like what Ian Gary did. And I really hate the fact that I'm complimenting Ian Gary, but I don't think Leon Edwards is going to be able to do what Ian Gary did, right? Ian Gary just spammed the head kick so that Carlos Prates couldn't use his left hand, all right? When has Leon Edwards ever spammed something just to prevent the opponent from moving forward and implementing their game? Leon Edwards is a crispy striker who needs distance and he needs the perfect shots in order to implement his game. Carlos Prates is not going to give you that time. Carlos Prates will tune you up unless you do what Ian Gary does and just overwhelm him with output. Or if you're like Sean Brady and just ragdoll him. All right. It's going to be Leon Edwards' funeral. Again, this is approachable, but I just cannot pick Leon Edwards. All right. He just looked really bad against Sean Brady in March. And even in the Bilal Muhammad fight, like, sure, you can chalk it up to the fact that Leon Edwards was fighting at like 5 a.m. UK time, but like he didn't look that much different from his other fights. With, like, let's say with Colby Covington, uh, even the Sean Brady fight, especially. All right, Leon Edwards has consistently been a uh, low output, low cardio striker who somehow makes a lot of 5 round decisions. I don't really see a path of victory for Leon Edwards right now, especially considering that he's on a 2 fight loss streak. Maybe Leon Edwards can fluke a head kick once more, but as Sean Brady said, lightning doesn't strike in a bottle twice. So I'm gonna go with Carlos Prates to get a round 2 nasty TKO over Leon Edwards, and hopefully we get to see Carlos Prates fight for a belt before Ian Gary. Up next, we're gonna be talking about the UFC fans equivalent of Stalin versus the Big H. All right, Umar Nurmagomedov is gonna fight Mario Bautista on UFC 321. All right, is this gonna be 5 rounds? I'm not really sure, but right now I'm leaning towards Umar Nurmagomedov. I have been a long time doubter of Mario Bautista, and it's not because Mario Bautista just fraud checked Patchy Mix, and I really wanted Patchy Mix to win that fight. Like I legit thought that Mario Bautista lost this fight to Damon Blackshear 2 years ago, and I thought he clearly lost the fight to Jose Aldo a year ago. All right, Mario Bautista has looked very iffy across multiple fights. All right, if it was like a one-time thing, I wouldn't bring it up. But again, Mario Bautista has left it very controversial and very iffy across multiple fights. And Umar Nurmagomedov, outside of his fight with Marab, he's looked relatively dominant. And Umar Nurmagomedov, like, yes, he lost to Marab. It's Marab Dvalishvili, right? Am I really gonna use the loss to Marab as like the reason as to why Umar's gonna somehow lose to Mario Bautista now? Not really, all right? I'm going to be interested in this fight. I will do a lot more tape study when the time comes. But for now, I'm going to say that Umar Nurmagomedov's going to win this fight. Pretty similar to how he won the Corey Sandhagen fight, in my opinion. Because again, Mario Bautista, I don't really see an elite level grappling game from him. I know a lot of people think like he's a primary grappler and like, oh, he's the answer to Marab. Not really. Like, I don't really think Mario Bautista, he's not like someone who can just output max, right? He gets tired. Right? Mario Bautista gets tired. Marab doesn't. Umar got tired against Marab, so I'm not really gonna say cardio is his issue. And in a normal paced fight, I'm gonna say that Umar Nurmagomedov, skill wise, is just better than Mario Bautista. Right? Will I be shocked if Mario Bautista wins? Not necessarily, but right now I think Umar Nurmagomedov's just better. And last but not least, we're gonna talk about this fight: Verna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, somehow this is the vacant title fight for the women's strawweight division. Mackenzie Dern is in a title fight for the women's strawweight division in 2025. How is that even possible? I have no idea. But this somehow just happened. Is it weird that I think that Mackenzie Dern can win this fight? Right? Like Mackenzie Dern can potentially become a UFC champion in the year of 2025. Like I can't believe I'm saying those words, but I'm going with Mackenzie Dern. Verna Jandiroba, she's good, but she's not very efficient on the feet. And I don't really think she's going to be able to implement her grappling to the point where, like, she just completely ragdolls Mackenzie Dern over the course of 5 rounds, right? Mackenzie Dern's actually pretty good on the ground, actually really good on the ground. And although I would give a slight edge to Verna Jandiroba, it's a slight edge. And I don't see Mackenzie Dern just being helpless on the ground like when Yan Xiaonan fought Verna Jandiroba, or like nearly every single other opponent that Verna Jandiroba's fought. And plus, Mackenzie Dern has a win over Verna Jandiroba a couple of years back, I believe. So I think this is going to be playing out very similarly to their first fight. I could be wrong. Maybe they never fought, but like, I don't know. I've seen Verna Jandiroba look pretty useless when she's not able to take her opponents down and have her way with them on the ground. Because on the feet, her striking is practically non-existent. So I'm gonna go with Mackenzie Dern to win the decision. Probably like 48, 47, 49, 46. Like, okay, maybe Verna Jandiroba has some success where she is able to implement takedowns on Mackenzie Dern, but I don't think Mackenzie Dern's going to be held down there for long periods of time. And I think that Mackenzie Dern is a lot more polished than Vernon Jandiroba on the feet, which is insane to say because it's Mackenzie Dern. But yeah, I'm going to go with Mackenzie Dern. And she is going to be a women's strawweight champion in the year of 2025. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about all these matchups. All right, who do you think is gonna win all these fights? And also leave a comment down below how excited you guys are now that we have other news to talk about outside of Roger Jackson. All right, but other than that, though, again, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.